Hey
Hey,
Lisa,
Dewey.
I would love to say that it is all rosy and how is it in sunny Southern California? Although I guess, right around where you are, probably still pretty nice, right? Wish you can get
Pretty
out.
nice. Yeah, today's pretty fogged in, so not so sunny yet today, but it's early, so hopefully that'll clear up. How are you?
I feel like I'm stuck on a broken record. It's just one day after another. And it seems like the last day has moved it even further out. And I think what's going on is probably so specific to where you are. And I don't know
Which is part
what it
of the
feels like
scary
there.
thing. Yeah, I mean, to me, that's really the scariest part of all this is that everybody is living under a different set of rules and a different reality, but the virus is the virus, and it doesn't care what the rules are where you are. And in my opinion, and in not just my opinion, because I'm not a medical person, but in the opinion of the medical and science community, we all need to be staying at home. And people who still don't get that and leaders who still aren't making that a rule in their local communities just kind of boggle my mind. I don't get it. I know where you are, Dewey. The Texas governor issued a stay at home order. Finally, last week we discussed it, that it was being left up to the individual municipalities, but I guess finally your governor did issue that order. It just boggles me. I keep getting into these discussions on social media with people who I guess are in denial. I don't really understand it, but I finally yesterday threw my hands up and said, I'm gonna say it. I'm like over this. Like, if you are not staying at home, you are part of the problem. You are perpetuating this pandemic, and I can't take it anymore. It's really frustrating me. I miss my kids. I moved to Southern California to be with them, and I can't see them and I can't hug them, and I'm just over it.
It's not easy. I think about it, and I know that California was under a more stay at home before we were. And so I felt very differently when we weren't under the order yet. There's something about an official mandate coming down, which, if you are a law follower, a rule follower, which I tend to be after having been a rule breaker for my first 20 years or so of my life, um, it feels very different. And I know that there are a lot of people in Florida who aren't under any kind of stay at home yet. And the Florida governor, as recently as an hour ago, was saying that, there's still some Florida counties who are have no cases. A friend of mine said no reported cases. And
Exactly.
and that number of counties has gone down, but it's still there aren't any, and the governor isn't going to do anything. Here, our governor was saying the same thing until yesterday, and then
Right.
set down an order, which is pretty hard. I mean, there's some fines that are going out to businesses that are non-essential, which are staying open. Um, and but none of us are where we're at, where they're at in Spain, where I talked to someone in an academy who runs an academy there, I guess yesterday, and they can't leave the house. Somebody said he went for a walk and he brought his little grocery bag just in case, and he got stopped by a security person within about the first 5 minutes, and was stopped by the police within the first 10 minutes, who are pretty stern about getting, must go back to your house, sir. Um, we're still
Hmm.
not. We're nowhere close to there. So what is right and what is wrong is, I don't know. We're a
Well,
country
I think
founded on
it's not
liberty.
right or wrong. It's not right or wrong at this point. It's life or death, right? It's sickness or health. I mean, it to me, right and wrong aren't part of this equation any longer. It's now you either are going to get sick from this, or someone close to you is going to get sick from this, or you're going to stay healthy. And the only way for all of us to get through this is for every single person to keep their distance. And I just don't see where there's any confusion over that. I am not typically a black and white person. I'm typically very much in the gray. I live with a spouse who is very black and white. He's an attorney, he's a litigator, so that's, for him, everything is black or white. For me, I live in the gray. Right now, I am black and white. I mean, it's just not an issue. You follow the directives of the medical and science community. Period. The end. And we are in a place where we're lucky to have access to information. ESPN released an article earlier this week, which I've linked on parentingaces.com. Lauren Sauer, who is the director, I'm reading this because I don't want to mess up her title. She's the director of critical event preparedness and response at Johns Hopkins Medicine. And she was asked the question, is it safe to play tennis? And her answer was no, period. The end. No explanation. No, she did expand on it and explained why she's saying no, but there are no caveats. There's no, well, if you do this, then it's safe, or if you do that, then it's safe. No, the answer is just a firm no, it is not safe. And I know Dr. Neeru Gianthi and Dr. Mark Kovacs released a graph in an article last week, which I pushed out on all our social media, showing the varying risks of playing tennis in different scenarios. But after a lot of discussion and a lot of pushback, the two of them took that graph and article down and came out with a strong statement themselves saying it is not safe to be playing tennis right now, period. And I just am kind of flabbergasted at the number of tennis coaches and tennis parents out there who are saying, well, but I'm teaching with, one can of balls and only the coach is touching the balls. Or the parents say, well, it's just my kid out there on the court and it's a neighborhood court, so it's not public. It is public. If it's in your neighborhood, that means everybody in your neighborhood has access to it. Therefore, it is public. And there are people other than you setting foot on that court and touching surfaces. And I just don't understand. I get that we all love playing and we miss it and we want it as something to calm us during this crazy time, but it's just not worth it. Don't play. Stay home. Find another way. We have tons of train at home resources on our website. We have a COVID-19 resources page devoted to culling resources from reliable sources, including things like the USTA Player Development Learning Series webinars that are happening every Monday. We've got the link to register for those and the link to the replay of those. We've got the ITF Academy resources linked on our site. We've got all sorts of really good videos of exercises and drills and mental exercises that families can be integrating into their day-to-day. And I truly believe this is going to be survival of the fittest in all sorts of ways of looking at that, Duey.
It's going to be interesting. I guess to a degree, me being the libertarian that I am, I know that I'm going to make a choice for me, which says that I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying here. I'm trying to figure out how do I get groceries back and forth, because a couple times that I've gone and I've worn gloves and I've been trying to figure out, well, if I touch a keypad, but then I get something off the keypad, but I'm still wearing the gloves, and then I take the groceries, did I just transfer from, it's like silly video that I saw online of, somebody in the bathroom trying to figure out how to wash their hands and be safe, and everything he touches, did that contaminate something? And that's what it feels like being out. And I know that I'm somewhat vulnerable because I'm 58 years old with diabetes. And so that kind of puts me in a category. If I didn't just have corona cooties, then I had something else which is lingering, and there's still a cough around. So that means my lung capacity is probably diminished. And so if I were to catch something which is a lung debilitator to the nth degree, that would probably be a bad thing for me. So I know that I'm staying in, and I get to make that choice for myself.
here's the thing, you make that choice for yourself, but that choice doesn't just impact you, right? If you choose to go out and expose yourself to potentially the virus, you then bring that back home and potentially expose anyone living in your household. And then they, if they go out, have then potentially exposed anyone they come in contact with. So this isn't just an individual choice anymore. And that's where I think I am getting so frustrated, because it's beyond just
It's
taking care of you and yours.
yeah, it's a hard one, and I'm not sure is there's a way to totally shut it down. I have a daughter who works in a grocery store in the bakery, and it is an essential service, right? We are all going to need
Right.
food if this
Sure.
thing goes as long as we're talking about. Well, she lives with my oldest daughter, and so who has lupus, and so is that potentially she going to bring it home? And they're pretty good about, she has to walk in the door and go straight into her bathroom and take a shower and do all of those
Mm-hmm.
things. But there's still some kind of risk there. There's risk for her, and I don't know. I'm at my wit's end. It's certainly, I read something online about the 1918 uh, flu pandemic. I don't want to call it the Spanish flu because I don't want people calling this the Wuhan flu or the Chinese flu. Um, or disease. So I'm going to call it the 1918 flu epidemic, but which talked about the cities which closed things down first had the lowest death rate. Those who either waited a long time in order to close things down, or who felt like things had passed and opened things back up, then had another spike. Um, Along with that have come the thoughts of, we might be in this till the fall. Um, Honestly, I'm hearing lots of talk of it. This is definitely through June into the summer.
Yeah.
Um, what do you think tennis is going to look like opening back up after that long? Do you think we're going to get right back? There's going to be league play, there's going to be tournaments, there's going to be competition, there's going to be group lessons, or have group lessons kind of become a thing of the past for the time being? What's your gut instinct on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great question. I really don't know what's going to happen, and I think that, tennis is one of those sports where you can practice social distancing, to a point. And so as things start to open back up and we start to hopefully feel a little more comfortable being out and about, that the individual activities will be the first to rebound. I think it's going to be a long time before people get back in a gym. But, interestingly, I mean, the whole issue of college recruiting is coming up. The NCAA just released a decision about what to do with the graduating seniors who missed their spring season. And, they are allowing those student athletes to come back for another season. They're adjusting how the scholarship money is going to work, and that's
Mm.
still up in the air. Even just the
Is there even
graduating
money?
high school
Is
seniors. I'm sorry?
Yeah, but the question, there's going to be, is there even money? Because there's not basketball
Right,
television money. And if this
right.
goes into the fall and it's not safe to have groups together, so therefore football becomes one of those
Football.
sports
Yep.
which can't come back. And so football television revenue doesn't come. That potentially impacts all sports. And now we're back to the
Yeah.
Title IX thing. And, do these individual
Yeah.
non-rev sports end up getting cut from programs across the board? So instead of it
Right.
being a safer sport, it's one that just can't be funded at this point in time. Mm.
Right. And I just want to put out there that Tarek Merchant of I'm Recruitable and I are doing a Facebook Live discussion about what recruiting looks like right now. We're doing that this Friday morning at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific time on Facebook. It'll be on the I'm Recruitable page and the Parenting Aces page. So if people have questions about what's happening with their kid in college recruiting, I mean, this is a big concern for especially those of you who have kids in high school and who have the goal of playing college tennis. And these kids and these families have committed time and resources to reaching this goal. And now, who knows what's going to happen?
Okay,
Well,
so
Tarek's got some
I'm going to
insight.
jump in right there and say unequivocally, if you spent all of this money for your kid to get a college scholarship, you made a very poor choice. You could have taken all of that money and put it in the bank and
Yeah.
well afforded for your child to play tennis. You have your child playing junior tennis for all of the life lessons that they will get otherwise. Because you get to stay connected with your kid, you're spending weekends with them at tournaments, and they're involved in a healthy activity between 4 to 7 p.m. when the devil works his magic for those with idle time, and they get into trouble. But you got a kid doing a positive thing. So if you're really worried about, oh no, my kid isn't going to get a college scholarship now, I will tell you unequivocally, my opinion, you're doing this for the wrong reason right off the bat. So sorry, get off my soapbox.
But not necessarily even talking from the scholarship angle, but just getting to play, having the opportunity to play college tennis. And how do you do campus visits? How do you get coaches to see who you are and how you play right now during this crazy time where we're all at home? And so that's one of the things that we'll be talking about, not necessarily the scholarship angle, because I agree with you 100%, Dewey, on that. But college tennis, we want it to survive. It's a great thing. And there are a lot of really wonderful things that come out of playing college tennis, regardless of the financial piece of it. And I say this all the time, I know, but my son's very best friend in the world is someone he met on his college tennis team. And
Mm-hmm.
this young man is part of our family and will be forever. This kid's from New Zealand, and we never would have met him but for college tennis. So
Oh, no,
these
no
are the
doubt
kinds
about
of
it.
things.
At
Yeah,
our academy session yesterday that we're
same
doing
stories.
online every
Yeah.
day, that two of our coaches went to college with Kevin Anderson, and Kevin Anderson was a guest on the Zoom call yesterday. So all the kids got to talk to Kevin Anderson and listen to their coaches talk to him, as a buddy, talking about college days and all of those things. So there are certainly some lifelong kinds of things, and anybody who went to college is probably still in touch with their college roommate, and so it is a bonding time. It is a
Yeah.
time when those that have played junior tennis, college tennis, pro tennis, almost without exception, say that tennis was the absolute best of all of those things. And you're right,
Right.
it can go away. Um,
Yeah.
and
And I mean, it's, none of us has a crystal ball, unfortunately. I wish we did. Um, Funnily, one of the things my husband and I are doing at night to kill time is we're re-watching The West Wing, that series. And we
I
just
love that
started,
song.
and it's such a good show. But in season 1, episode 4, there is a smallpox virus scare, and the threat of global infection. And we're watching it and looking at each other and going, oh my God, this is what we're living through right now. This exact scenario is what we're living through. In the next episode, they talk about shortages because the trucking industry is talking about going on strike and how that's going to impact our ability to get food and all the vital essentials that we all need in our day-to-day lives. And we looked at each other and we're like, oh my God, this
Yeah.
show's from 1999 and it's discussing our current reality. I mean, we are living all these things that Aaron Sorkin was writing about in 1999.
Yeah.
So it's eerily frightening.
I think we keep people doing the things at home, looking towards those resources that you talked about that are on your page. If you are in a program of pretty much any significance, your program is probably helping develop programs for you to come back, more physically strong, more mentally in tuned, more focused. The thing that you're not getting to do probably is to hit balls, although your volleys could get a lot better, because I know, at least in our program, we've had every kid identify a wall. And so they'll be doing things against the wall. And, if you've ever seen that Cara Black video of her hitting however many volleys against the wall, bang, 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 that is the kind of thing that you can do. It's just going to take a little bit of time once we get back on the court to figure out how the competition structure is going to come back. And I think that's going to be the hard thing, because I don't think anybody's getting on planes for a while, because we don't know how the rest of the world is. So ITF tournaments probably aren't going to be a thing. I actually had a coach from Spain yesterday predict that there will be no more ITF or professional tournaments in 2020. It's over. That's his thought, and he coaches who play at that ITF and lower level, challenger level
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, just given where we are right now, given what's happening around the world, I just don't see it opening back up anytime soon. And I think the best thing that we all can do as individuals is to be socially responsible, stay home, focus on the things we can control, right? That's always the
mm,
lesson that we hear in terms of tennis, and the mental side of the game is control the controllables. Well, the controllables right now are getting more and more limited day by day, but there are still some controllables, and let's focus on those. Let's focus our energy on our relationships within our household. Let's focus our energy on staying well and healthy, and controlling the controllables. Period. The end.
so we can control whether the impulse to go out and hit balls with others overruns us, or is that one of those things that is within our control to decide whether we go out and play or not?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And please control that impulse. Stay home.
I think that might be the message of the day is, let's try to minimize this as best we can. Tennis is not a necessity. Tennis is something that we choose to do. It's a luxury. And we're all better off if we leave all of those things alone, whether it's going out and playing tennis, or the one that I hear a lot is go out and play golf, right? It's golf. I'm out
Yep.
there pretty much all by myself and can keep physical distance. Great. Don't go out there. Don't go ride in a cart with somebody that you don't know all the time. We don't want to distance ourselves from our loved ones, but let's try to, do things like this. Talk to people on Zoom, FaceTime, whatever kind of app
Yeah.
you use to communicate with people, and know that it's hard, but know that, at least if we're not in the situation where someone we love is dying alone, because that's what's happening. Let's be honest about it. People are dying, can't have any of their loved ones near them because they are
Right.
contagious at that point in time. So imagine how lonely that is. And so if we can avoid that from happening for other families or for our own family, I think it's incumbent upon us to do that.
I agree. And I want to just throw one more thing out, and I know we're past our 20 minutes, Dewey, but I've gotten a lot of pushback from the coaching community saying that, I'm impeding their ability to pay their bills. And I understand that tennis coaches rely on teaching lessons in order to have an income stream. I did write an article earlier this week. It's on parentingaces.com about what we can do and what we need to do to support our coaches. And I think it is truly important, if you are a tennis family, that you find a way to continue to support your coach and or coaches. And if we want the
I,
sport to come back after this is all over, we've got to make sure that our coaches can stay afloat during this time. And if you are in a financial situation where you can continue to engage your child's coach or your family's coach,
let's be
please
honest,
find
there
a
are
way
a
to
lot
do
of people in
that.
tennis that can do that, right? We are in a place
Yes.
where a lot of tennis families, this is hurting them. So they're seeing the stock market go down, I think, but they're still in a place where they can support
Right.
their person that their child kind of has counted on and that has leaned into making sure that their child has a good experience. But I would say make sure that the coach isn't just looking for you to keep writing them a check and they're not continuing to bring value and being innovative
Oh,
in the ways
absolutely.
that they're trying to work. Um, I'm not someone that believes I guess I've taken government checks for two things in my life, and one was unemployment, which is my own money, because if you don't know it, that unemployment comes from they depress your wages because they employers have to put money into that, so you get less in your check all the time because of that. Um, unemployment, and I'm not even sure what the other one was. Oh yeah, tax refund when I was lucky enough to have one of those. So those are the two times that I've taken money from the government, because I'm not about somebody giving me a handout or the government giving me a handout. If you want to help somebody personally, then I think you should do that. And that's why I think 501c3s exist, because you should be able to take
Right.
your resources and give them to the people that you want to give them to. Your coach, if you have a good one, should be one of those people. So please support them. Um,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, just stay home. It's that simple. Just stay home. Let's all stay healthy. Let's all get on the other side of this healthy, intact, with our loved ones healthy and intact. And hopefully there's an end coming soon. We don't know when that is yet, but if we all do our part, then it's going to come sooner rather than later.
Have a wonderful week. I'm sure we're going to talk. There's been a lot going on. There's going to be a lot more going on as we push things out more and more. I suspect we're going to start hearing about tennis programs folding um, pretty soon, because people just can't make it. And who knows what, a whole bunch of tennis coaches would go do if they didn't have the opportunity to teach tennis. But unfortunately, I think there's going to be some programs that are going to fall as casualties. Hopefully not in the next week. And let's hope
Which
that
breaks my heart.
nobody, yeah, let's hope that nobody, we've had someone that we know pass away because of coronavirus already. So it has hit close to home. I know that there's been some scares in your world. Um,
Yep.
so let's hope that,
Yeah.
your loved ones, and everybody is good to go, that we're not talking about something even closer to home, although it's close to home for somebody. So I feel like even saying that's being somewhat callous, and I feel bad for uttering those words. So
Well, stay healthy, Dewey. I hope that, everybody that you love comes out of this okay. And to those of you watching, again, just stay home. We'll see y'all next week.
have a good week. Bye.